Hey, what's up, guys? This is Cody the Coin Raptor coming at you with another Bitcoin episode. Sorry it's been so long since my last video, but real life's kind of caught up to me for a little bit, and so my uploads might be a little bit sporadic. But just know that I'm still posting at least every single day on X, so if you guys are interested in what I have to say, go check out my account on X and on Threads. So let's get right into it. Bitcoin has been kind of in a strange place lately. Okay, it's been on a nice little uptrend, but the uptrend overall is still part of an overall downtrend. So let me go ahead and just get into it here. So Bitcoin, we saw go into this green box here, this ultimate support band, I've labeled it, and it stayed in this box for a couple of days. And then we've seen it trade sideways for the good part of 13, 14 days, almost 2 weeks. And it's only basically through the last Friday here, the 23rd of August, that we've actually started to see Bitcoin break out. So Bitcoin is broken out past the resistance line here at about 63,000-ish. So we're going to go ahead and change this back to support. So Bitcoin has broken out of this strong resistance level right here, and it's started to move sideways. So what you have to see is it consolidate above this level, and then from there push on above 65, 66K, this resistance level right here. And if it does that, then I think that we're actually going to be back into the short-term uptrend as opposed to a short-term downtrend. We just need to see this confirmed. But the good news is that it's above the 200-day moving average here at about 59,500, which is always a good sign. Now expect that if it loses the support here at about 63K, then this 200-day moving average will act as support like it has in the past. So that's down here at just under 60. Now there's something very interesting going on with Bitcoin dominance that I want to talk about. We haven't talked about Bitcoin dominance in some time, but Bitcoin dominance has reached almost above 57%. It's almost at 58%. If we back this out here and we take a look at the weekly, we can see here that Bitcoin dominance is at a level that we have not seen since all the way back in March of 2021. And we've seen Bitcoin dominance go from the lows here at about 40% all the way up to 57%. Now, this isn't unusual, okay? So again, as a reminder, Bitcoin dominance is basically Bitcoin's share of the total crypto market cap, okay? So Bitcoin's dominance tends to rise during bull markets. We saw here in 2018, late 2018, and specifically November all the way up to about November, September 2018. We saw it move up. We saw it move up in 2020, September, all the way up to about January of 21. We saw it move up and actually stop here at about 70%. So this is not unusual for Bitcoin. But one thing I think that tells us right now is that the community, largely speaking, the crypto community is more interested in Bitcoin right now than it is in altcoins. And so it seems like the idea of an altcoin summer hasn't happened just yet because we haven't seen Bitcoin kind of peak at that level and then come back down again, which is normally what you would see when people sell their Bitcoin. They go and they buy altcoins instead. We have not seen that just yet. However, it needs to overcome this resistance here at about almost 58%. And until it does, this resistance level is going to put a cap on the Bitcoin dominance. All right. So when we actually start to see this fall in a significant way, that would be the start of an altcoin summer or altcoin winter, whenever the heck it happens to be. So this is something I'm going to be keeping an eye on. But it just goes to show you that because of the uncertainty in the economy and the uncertainty in the markets, it looks like a lot of crypto traders and investors are flocking towards Bitcoin, which has been seen as the best in the space. And that's obvious when you take a look at things like Ethereum and you see what Ethereum has done over the past couple of months, which is basically kind of moved sideways, and it's still hugely off of its highs. And when I say highs, it's basically the highs here at about 43K. It's off about 4,300. It's off significantly from those highs. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is how Bitcoin is comparing to the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ year to date up 19%. And even though Bitcoin has been kind of disappointing for the past couple of months, just remember, it's important to think about the fact that Bitcoin is still up 45% year to date. Okay, so keep this in mind, 45%. It is more than double the NASDAQ index right now. Now, the reason why Bitcoin has been kind of moving a little bit sideways over the past couple of months is primarily because of Mt.Gox and the Mt.Gox redistributions. So when it comes to Mt.Gox, let me refresh this dashboard. When it comes to Mt.Gox, you can come over here to Arkham and look at Arkham Intelligence's Mt.Gox tracker that they have here. And you can see that on the right here, we have the total value of the Mt.Gox portfolio here, and this is it was about almost $10 billion or so. Now we're starting to see it kind of wind down, and especially towards the middle of August to late of August, it seems like it's kind of hit a stopping point. It seems like it's leveled out a little bit, but the Mt.Gox redistribution still has $2.7 billion worth of Bitcoin in the funds. Now, this is a far cry from where it was back up earlier in about June, when it was all the way up to about $10 billion. So it has come down significantly since then, and I expect that it's going to continue to go down, and the selling pressure on Bitcoin is going to finally abate from the Mt.Gox redistributions. Now, the next thing I want to talk about that's been holding down the Bitcoin price is seasonality. Okay, so we take a look at our Bitcoin monthly returns. We can see here that normally August and September are not good months for Bitcoin, seasonally speaking, with the median for both months being negative and the average being negative for September and slightly positive for August. So something to keep in mind. Now, again, when it comes down to it, October is a great month for Bitcoin, generally speaking. It's one of the best months for Bitcoin next to like February. So keep that in mind. In October, normally we see an average gain of 20% and a median gain of well over that, about over 27% for the month of October. But September is a fairly rough month. But we tend to show that the seasonality, I think, is still going to be in play for this year. So my expectations are that we will see kind of we'll continue to see a rougher August and then an even more harsh September, followed by a nice recovery in October. That's my guess. But again, it's just a guess. Now, I also want to talk about Bitcoin options. Okay, Bitcoin options expiry is going to happen on Friday the 30th of August. We come down here, we take a look at our 30th of August. We see a large number of calls expiring, $2.3 billion worth of calls expiring, and $1.4 billion worth of puts expiring. So together you have almost $4 billion worth of options expiring on Friday. Now, when I talked about this last time, I said previously that it was at about it was at about 64,000, the max pain price. Now it's sitting at about 61,000. And I said it's very possible that we could see 64,000 by the end of the month. Now we're basically here. We're basically at 64,000 right now. So what this means is that it seems like the number of puts have been stacking, and traders are betting on Bitcoin to go back to about 61K. Okay, so by the end of the month, so by Friday, they're betting on 61K. Now, that being said, there's still a significantly high number of call options sitting here at about $70,000 worth of strike price. Okay, so just note that there's still a huge amount. There's here another one here, about 150 million. Sitting at about 65,000. So there's a lot of bullishness still coming towards the end of August, but just taking into consideration the fact that when you have puts and calls, the max pain price is sitting at about 61K, which is usually, according to max pain theory, where you would expect the Bitcoin price to be or close to be by the end of the month. So that's about 5% down from about where we are currently. Next, I want to talk about the Bitcoin spot ETF inflows. So we've talked about the reason why Bitcoin's been down lately, but there's still significant demand coming from Bitcoin, and especially with our spot ETF inflows. We've seen here that on Friday we had a large amount of spot ETF inflows at about $252 million in a single day. This is quite amazing. But it still pales in comparison to what we saw earlier in the year and even all the way back to June. So just know that we're starting to hopefully be on the other side of all the selling. We're starting to see a little bit of incremental bullishness for the spot ETFs, and I would expect that this will continue for the near term. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is our friend, the whale, also known as Mr. 100. So I haven't talked about this in a little while because it's been almost about 2 weeks. Mr. 100 has done some amazing moves, okay? So since we had the huge price dump off back on the 5th of August, Mr. 100, the whale, has added 2,000 Bitcoin in a single day, okay? On the 5th of August, they added 2,000 Bitcoin, all these transactions right here. So take into account maybe $53,000, $54,000 amount that they basically paid per Bitcoin. They put in about $100 million worth of Bitcoin buys on that day. That is insane, okay? Looking at volume for that single day, that we had the mass panic on the 5th of August. The volume for that day was about 2,000 Bitcoin. Okay, so this whale accounts for about 1/4 of the total Bitcoin for that day. Truly, truly insane. So this Bitcoin whale has come back to number 10. They had actually gone the next day on the 7th or so of August. They actually sold, or they moved a significant amount of this Bitcoin. So 6,000 Bitcoin on the 7th of August. So that's about here or so. Probably selling close to 57,000, maybe 56,000 or so. So they made some significant profits on that dip buying. So this whale continues to buy, and buy even more than they had previously. So they're sitting at currently the number 10 spot. There are very few people in the world who can deploy $100 million to buy such a significant amount of Bitcoin in a single day. All right, so this whale is definitely worth watching. They love to play the market. They're always buying the dips and then selling the rips. So it's very interesting to see that they're loading up right now, and they have not sold since the 7th of August. So they have been stacking sats like crazy. And they're not the only ones. If you take a look at the long-term versus short-term Bitcoin supply, the long-term Bitcoin supply is sitting at almost 82% of the total supply of Bitcoin. Now, this is in stark contrast to back in June when it was at 77%. We're starting to see a nice recovery from these wallets that own Bitcoin for more than about 155 days. Okay, so this is healthy. The Bitcoin market is healthy right now. Soon, these short-term issues like seasonality and Mt.Gox will be gone, and the Bitcoin price will return to make a new all-time high. I am confident that will be the case, and we'll see a new all-time high at least by the end of the year, or hopefully before the end of the year. I think that's very possible. But let me know your comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.